Hello there, everyone. If you're watching this video, then you are part of the TTOR army, an army that is building itself up one subscriber at a time. And before we go any further, I'd like to bring a little PSA to you. About 3 months ago, roughly, I launched my very own open source alt tech alternative to YouTube, and that alternative is called Quarter. Quarter is very feature rich and functional. It's actually basically on par with YouTube in terms of features and functionality that it offers to users, including some features that YouTube doesn't offer, such as quarter bucks, an insight currency that you earn by getting views on your uploads, and that in turn you can use to promote individual videos or your entire channel on the main page of the site. There's also video chat rooms that you can create where you can not only do video calls and video chats with your friends, family, and followers, but you can also live stream to your channel from these chat rooms. So if you're looking for a YouTube alternative that is fully developed, feature-rich, and functional, but also gives you the freedom of speech that YouTube doesn't, and there is no algorithm that forces you to only talk about certain topics if you want to get any views at all, then Quarter is the place for you. Now that we got that PSA out of the way, let's get to the meat of this video. This particular video topic has been in the making for over a year, but this week it finally happened. I have officially released Hanover, which is an original superhero novel that yours truly has been working on for over a year. I'm just going to go ahead and read the description of the Amazon listing of my book because it's the description that is on the back cover of the book as well as other places. The description of Hanover goes as follows. The year is 2025. New COVID-19 variants kept magically appearing. The vaccine and mask mandates never went away. Vaccine passports are now a reality. When the governor of Oregon issues an executive order mandating the use of the VaxPass 9000 in order to buy and sell, the residents of a small Oregon town of Hanover publicly resist the governor's executive order. In retaliation for their dissent, the governor of Oregon unleashes the UN coronavirus task force on the town, resulting in the murder of the residents of Hanover. One man, however, has survived the purge of Hanover. Given the strength of Samson and protected by the Lord, John Barton is appointed by Jesus to judge those responsible for the murder of his town and is sent out on a journey that will cross paths with the UN Coronavirus Task Force, Antifa, the world's greatest assassin, and the evil supernatural forces behind it all. For John to succeed, he must become Hanover. So I started writing this book way back in the first half of 2021 when all of the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates and all the other draconian authoritarian stuff that the establishment, both in the US and globally, was trying to force upon all of us. So basically, in the midst of all that going on, I came up with this idea of a story. You see, for over 10 years, I've actually had the character of John Barton in my head in various forms. The problem was I couldn't envision or create a world and a coherent story that would carry through for an entire book until last year when we started going through all this authoritarian coronavirus stuff. So I decided, you know what, I'll take John Barton, who's been in my head for over 10 years, and I'll place him in our world with a slight projection into what the future could look like if things continued the way they were back in the first half of 2021. Now, of course, mandates have all been lifted essentially, and things for the most part have gone back to normal since then. But I didn't want to change that for my book. I wanted to see in my head what things could look like in a few years if things kept going the way they were last year. So that happened, and I wrote this book, and I have to say, compared to most other superhero stories, compared to other superhero novels or science fiction novels, I have created a tale that I think a lot of you will find very interesting, very engaging. My publisher, who published my book, he told me that he's not even into superhero or action stories, and yet he found my book very engaging. His exact words were that it was very gripping, and it actually held his attention throughout the whole thing when he sat down and read it. So if this book can grab the attention and keep the attention of people who aren't even into superhero or action stories in the first place, just imagine how much you'll enjoy the story if you actually are into action stories or superhero stories at all. It's quite a read, guys, and I think you'll enjoy it. So obviously you can see on here that this is the Amazon listing where Hanover is available as a paperback for $16.99 or as a Kindle download for $8.99. And if you don't want to contribute to Amazon and you want to support me directly, you could always buy a PDF version of the book from my Teespring store, which you can see right here on the screen. It has the same description as the Amazon listing, same stuff as far as the artwork goes. So yes, it's available on my Teespring store as well. And of course, if you go to my official website and you go to my Hanover page, you'll find links to the Amazon and Teespring store listing, as well as the front cover and the back description of the book. Now, my publisher has informed me that when he and I get our hands on printed copies in a few weeks, what's going to happen is if everything looks good, which it does, he's going to go ahead and he's going to release my book on other online stores. And when those other online store listings become available, I will be putting them on the Hanover page when that happens. So if you're sitting here right now thinking, well, Justin, I'm interested in your book, but I don't want to get it off of Amazon and I don't want to get it off of your Teespring store, just sit tight. There will be other places that the book will be listed on here soon, and one of these places might be something you're comfortable of buying the book from, and you just have to keep checking in on my site for a few weeks. So, now that my original superhero novel that I've been working on for over a year is finally done and published and up there and out there on the market, what am I going to do next? Well, I know long term I will be writing a sequel to this story called Hanover 2, and I do need to make a second edition of my previous book, Another Inconvenient Truth 2, Defending Young Earth Creationism. But I have a more immediate project that I'll be working on much sooner than those two. I'm going to be upgrading and improving Creation Social, which is an open source alt-tech alternative to Facebook and Gab that I've been running since December 26, 2020. I've had some stuff come up with the site in terms of issues, and there's a new script that I had to get because there's upgrades that I can't run on this current script. But I wanted to wait until my book was out before I addressed my Creation Social website's issues and upgraded it. Well, now that the book is out there and on the market, I'm going to go ahead here really soon and sit down and upgrade Creation Social to make it an up-to-date and feature-rich alternative to Facebook, Gab, and other similar sites. So stay tuned for that upgrade, ladies and gentlemen.